Alright folks, well here we go. We're just leaving the hotel. It's fairly early now, and we've got to try and get back out to the car, call the AA, see if we can get this flat tyre sorted. So here we go. Well, we're on our way again, folks. We made it. So yeah, called the AA this morning. Said they'd send somebody out within an hour. He got here in under an hour. Had a look, pumped it up. The whole of the tyre had split. So he reckons I'd gone over a pothole or something. But there was no salvaging it, so we had to go into town to go to the tyre place. Thankfully they had a tyre which was the right size and fit. That was only 10 minutes into town. They got it fixed within 5-10 minutes, got back out, put it on. So basically within 2 hours of waiting, I'm back on the road again. It's one of the quickest and easiest fixes I've ever had, I think. So we can really praise the Lord for that. Had some really good conversations with the repair guy as well, who was very interested in what I was doing with this road trip and the filming and the geology and the creation side of things. So we can be grateful for an opportunity there as well. We've got about an hour and 15 minutes to go. It's a little bit longer this morning, probably because of the traffic, but it means we get there at about 12:30, half past midday. So that's not too bad. I'd have liked to have been there a bit earlier, but you know what, it's not too bad, all things considered. I'm on limited sleep though, so pray for me, folks. But we'll get to the fossil show and see what's there and see what's around. Happy days. Well, we're going through the windy roads of the Peak District now. We're about 5 miles away, so we've not got too much further to go. And we're on going down a very, very steep ravine at the moment. And we'll be there a little tiny bit earlier than estimated, which is good. And hopefully there's still some fossils left for us to see. It started at 10. It's now, well, we're going to be there at about 12:30, so we've missed the first couple of hours. And a lot of times these fossil shows are like, you know, the car boot sales and the antique shows. You really need to be there early to see the best stuff and have the chance of getting the best deals and the best specimens. But unlike a lot of other things, fossil collectors tend to be very specialised. There's very few generalists which have a bit of everything, because most people can't afford everything. And so you'll often find that if you're interested in one very specific aspect of fossil hunting or fossil types, you've got a better chance of picking them up, because the chances are other people aren't interested in that one particular thing that you are. So for us, right, the things we're particularly interested in are the living fossils and examples of living fossils, examples of really good examples of rapid burial, and clear rapid burial. We're also interested in geological things that show process, so things like the stromatolites, things like the stalactites, the stalagmites, any sort of interesting geological things like that. Of course, the big bits of bone and so on and so forth are interesting, and you know, depending on what kind of exhibitions we're pulling together, we'll look at those. But we usually prefer to get our own fossils for those, as in go out and dig up our own fossils. So, you know, that's something to bear in mind when we're going to look at stuff like this. But the next exhibition we're doing at the museum which we will premiere next year at a homeschoolers conference before it going up in the museum, is dinosaurs. So everything to do with dinosaurs, the size, the feathers, the fossils, the drowning, the soft tissue, everything to do with dinosaurs. So we do actually need to keep an eye out for some good dinosaur specimens that'll be relevant for what we want to do in the exhibition. So lots to look for, lots to keep an eye out for, and see what else we can come up with. Alright folks, well, we're here, but it's very, it seems to be very busy, so we might we'll go down and have a look and see if there's some parking. But if not, you can see all the cars parked up alongside here, so it might be something to do with that. We'll see if we can find some parking. There's a few spaces. If not, we'll have to park a little bit further out. Alright, we found somewhere to park, folks. It's just pulled up at the side of the road, that'll do. Let's get going! Well, we've had a pretty good haul so far. As you can see, the majority of the stuff here is actually minerals. But there's an awful lot of fossils as well, and we've done pretty well with the fossils. So I've got a few exciting things. This is an absolutely enormous dinosaur vertebrae. You can see all of the materials. It comes from a private collection, Victorian collected. It's definitely sauropod, probably a Camarasaurus vertebrae, and just look at the detail on that. That's going to be full of soft tissue, as is this one, which is another titanosaurid vertebrae, huge one from the UK. It's been squashed, so look at the amount of pressure that would have had to undergone. But there's also fabulous detail in there, so that's going to be full of soft tissue, perfect for good research. We've got this wonderful coral species from Much Wenlock, which is a very rare location to be able to get to now, but absolutely beautiful. It's where a lot of trilobites and stuff come out of as well. We've also got this, I'll pull it out quickly. Massive fossil. Look at this. Just simply enormous gastropod fossil. So that's a really nice one. And then perhaps our most exciting one, well, I think the dinosaurs are probably the most exciting, but it's actually in this little bag here. But as you can see, it's just started raining heavily, and there's been a lot of thunder coming from over that direction. So I'm going to head into the car and we'll talk about it in the car. Alright, so about 5 minutes ago it started thundering over in that direction. It's now chucking it down, which you can't actually see out of this window too well because it's driving in from this way. You might just be able to see some of the windscreen here. But we've done really well, right? So we've got a giant, great big sauropod vertebrae from the UK, going to be full of soft tissue. We've also got a big limb bone from a titanosaur, one of the big sauropod type, the long-necked creatures, right? Dinosaurs from the UK as well. So that's a really, really nice example. We've got some rare fossils. I also added to some of the minerals. A lady had a half-price deal on all of her minerals, so I've added to some of our mineral collection for the museum. But this is the thing which really got me excited when I saw it. It's actually from Cyprus, and it's a Roman artifact, but it's a rather important Roman artifact. You see, what has happened is we are dealing with a pit prop. So the Romans, it's originally made out of wood. You can see it there. There you can see it's been sliced, right? It's originally made out of wood, and it would have been used to propping up part of the big Roman pits and parts of the houses. But this one is rather special because you see it was in water, boggy water, and that should have rotted it, should have destroyed it, but it's still here today, nearly 2,000 years old. Okay, so what has actually happened to it? How has it preserved? Well, you might just be able to see it's this beautiful sort of rusty red colour, and you might just be able to spot there's some odd bits of green in it. You see, this is a Roman pit prop made out of wood that they've used, which has actually been replaced by copper. It's actually pretty heavy. You can actually see all the bits of copper inside it, the little shiny bits, as well as all of the little green bits. It's actually really very beautiful. But what it is an example of is petrification. It's an example of fossilization, and it's not calcification either, because oftentimes our critics will say, oh, calcification isn't true fossilization. Well, this isn't calcification, this is copperization, malachization, whatever you want to do. You see, it's referring to the minerals that is being used to replace it. This has been impregnated, this has been infilled, this has been replaced by copper. Effectively, it's a piece of fossil wood. It's a piece of petrified wood, because it's the same process that's going on here. The same process that is found in actual fossil wood. Whether that fossil wood from the real world, right, it can be infilled with calcite, it can be infilled with silica, it can be infilled with opal sometimes, or replaced by opal sometimes. These replacement features are based on the minerals that are around it. So if you go to Jurassic Ark, iron and silica are the main ones. If you go to other places in Australia, it's opal. It's become opalized wood, right? If you come here to the UK, it's mostly calcite, or it might be coalified, so it's undergone so that the carbon comes out. In this case, with this Roman artifact, it is copper. So, question, how quick did this take? Well, we know it's only 2,000 years old, right? Certainly not millions of years, and it's beautifully preserved, but it's one more than that, because you see, even if you have this placed in its position, but if the minerals are not there to do their job, if the process isn't there for it to happen, then you're simply never going to get it, because it's going to rot away very quickly. And we know that in other places the Romans had to regularly, every few years, replace their props. In this case they didn't, because the right process has happened, and you've ended up with a fossilized piece of wood, a piece of wood which is completely encased in copper material. So that, I think, is a really exciting example, not just as a cool artifact, but also as a really good example of petrification, rapid petrification, and also that process that is behind the fossilization of these kinds of plants. So a really, really cool piece, which I'm really very much looking forward to getting on display in the museum. So we've got that, we've got some dinosaur bone, we've got, oh, a big set of crocodile jaws, I forgot about that. Have a look at these ones here. Big old set of crocodile jaws from Canada, so that's a really nice example. So we've got those as well, and we've got some minerals, like I said. We've got those big bits of dinosaurs. The big shell I'm really pleased about, because that shell genus, the really big curly shell, that shell genus is still alive today, but it's much, much smaller. And you see, that's an example of not evolution, but devolution. Good to bad to worse, same thing, right? So yeah, really, really good to get out and have a look and meet some old friends that I haven't seen in a while, and have a bit of a chat and share stories, and also really cool to be able to go and actually get some new specimens for the museum. So yeah, worthwhile trip. The question is, what do I do now? Because I need to be home for tomorrow morning, right? So do I stay overnight and travel home early tomorrow, or do I go home now, or what should I do? Because, well, it's a bit dull now and it's raining, but there's actually blue skies over there, so it might clear up. So maybe a Harper Hill visit might be worth a go. Oh, decisions. I'll have a think about it and I'll let you know. Alright, so we're heading further into the Peak District towards Buxton, which will be a... there's quite a lot of geological locations around there, including some very famous limestone deposits that we've done a lot of work at before, places like Harper Hill and the like. We've done a lot of stuff there. I've even written a book about it, so we may try and stop off at one or two places. It just depends on how much time we've got. I've got to decide whether I'm staying another night out, or whether I should, as I've got to be home tomorrow morning, whether I should head home tonight. I think probably head home tonight, because I'll be at church tomorrow, and then beyond that we'll hit the road again tomorrow afternoon. So I think that sounds like our best contending plan so far. But we're definitely going up a pretty steep hill at the moment. Oh, ears have just popped. There we go. Come on, girl. There are masses of quarries around here. We're in the middle of limestone country, right? And so we're just driving past, there's commercial quarry after commercial quarry. There's another one just outside of that window there now. All of these will be full of fossils, but you need to try and find permission to get in and dig there. But there's one or two little abandoned ones that you can try and find. The only thing is, it's lovely and glorious out outside at the moment, but just over there, literally, you can see all the rain coming down, and it's coming down pretty heavy. There's a beautiful rainbow, but I don't really want to get caught out in the rain. So we'll keep going and seeing what we can find. We might be able to get one or two things, or maybe get out at Buxton, have a look around at Buxton or something. But we'll see what we can do. All right, we're headed down. This is the route that the sat-nav is actually taking me down Grinlow Road, and I know Grinlow Road quite well because of the big Harper Hill deposit, the limestone deposit that's growing here. So we're going to go down here and going to have a little investigate actually. We'll see if we can park up somewhere and go and have a bit of a wander, but I'm going to have a little bit of a drive around and just see what we can find, because I've explored most of the valley itself but never much of the other area. So we'll go and have a look and see what we can spot. Well, we've couldn't get into Harper Hill itself, to the deposit, and it started absolutely chucking it down as well, though it's cleared up now that I've travelled about half an hour on from there. So we might pop back, or what I might do is try and go up by Castleton, because the last time we were there we found fossil thorns there, famous Mam Tor, famous Blue John mines, and around the back of there you have the Carboniferous deposits. But first, I'm hungry, so I'm just popping into the supermarket here to grab some food and work out a bit of a plan for the rest of the day. Alright folks, well, we've arrived at the place, but as you can see it's pretty awful with regards to the weather. It's delightful. So I'm just going to try and find somewhere to pull up and park, and then we'll potentially brave the elements, but we'll see. Let's go up here and have a little bit of a look. It's popular for campers, as you can see. It's just camper van after camper van. Can we pull in here? I reckon we can pull in here. Here will do. Alright, so a little bit of geology. We're back in the Carboniferous again. Turn my wipers off. We're back in the Carboniferous, so this is supposed to be around 300 to 310 million years old here at Castleton. Just behind me there are the famous Blue John mines, where the semi-precious crystal Blue John comes out of, and right in front of me, directly in front of me, is Mam Tor. And just around the back of Mam Tor is made up of layers of limestone and layers of shale. A bit similar to the Lias, but not quite the Lias, because the Lias is Jurassic, this is Carboniferous. But you do have a large exposure of that shale just around the corner here. And it's that large shale exposure that you get your fossils out of. Very, very dense, very black, full of carbon, full of oil, and you get plant fossils in it as well as marine creatures. So again, we're definitely dealing with flood, right? There have been reports of some polystrate trees around here, but I've never come across them. I'll have to keep an eye out for them in the future. But the plant material that we get out of here is your classic Carboniferous stuff, similar to what we had up at Cresswell, and I have found thorns here as well, so we need to go exploring and see what we can find in terms of the thorns. Pretty nasty looking weather, and I'm probably going to get soaked if I go out now, so I might give it 5 minutes just to see whether it calms down a little bit. If not, we'll go have a little nose and see what we can find, but it probably won't be too long if it carries on the weather being like this. So just the way it goes. Well, there's been a lull in the white rain, and the wind is not particularly ferocious, which is good. And we're heading around the back. And you'll get to see what I'm talking about. There we are. Well, it's gone from a lovely quiet lull in the weather to now raining again. But come have a look at where we are just behind. Look how pretty that is. So that's Mam Tor that we're heading towards. And you see all this black stuff here, that's where the fossils are. So it's that stuff there, which is all full of coal and shale and fossils as well. Now, part of the access has been blocked off to it, so we're going the long way round to try and see if we can reach it. But bear in mind, it is getting pretty cold now. Lost my hat. Anyway, you can see all the layers there. You've got layers of limestone, layers of shale, so similar to the lias, but not exactly the same. So this is the sort of shale area where you can find stuff. As you can see, there's been a lot of wet since the last time I came here, so there's very little good shale that you can get into, and because it's so wet, it's just starting to turn into sludge, as you can see here. So I'm not sure that we're actually going to find very much at all, but there we are. It's just one of those things. It's also now freezing cold. It's telling me in the car that the temperature is only about 3 degrees and the wind is blowing, so the wind chill is going to take that down to another 2 or 3 degrees. So we're sort of edging towards the freezing point with the wind chill. My hands are shaking, so I've only been out here for sort of 15 minutes or so, so I don't think it's worth hanging around and doing much more digging. I don't think we're going to find anything, but it is nice to come and look and see, get up close to Mam Tor there. It looks so beautiful and picturesque like that, you know, with it's just horrible rain clouds all around us, but then you're getting a little bit of sun coming from over in that direction, shining down on Mam Tor. It looks pretty spectacular. But anyway, I'm just making my way down the hill now. I'm going to make our way over back towards the car park. There's another 10-minute hike in that direction. So, alright. Not quite as good as I was hoping. I was hoping to have some good shale to scrummage around in, but not quite worth. But you know, we were passing. You never know about these things. We were passing. It was only an extra 15 minutes out of our way to come up here. So it's always nice for the scenery. The scenery was gorgeous when we first got here. It's all horrible now. That's how much has changed in half an hour. You can barely see anything and horrible wet. But oh well, it's one of those things. Oh, that's just horrible out there now. But made it back to the car. Wet, very wet. Dried myself off a little bit. So yeah, I think it's time to start to head for home. It's going to take us a couple of hours from here to get home, and I think probably it's better off heading home tonight and carrying on after church tomorrow. There's no point camping somewhere now and then having to go off, you know, and get up really early in the morning to get to Oswestry on time. So I say we go home, spend a night at home, and then carry on with the road trip over the next couple of days. So, oh, we'll see you at home, folks. Alright folks, well, it's getting dark again, and it's actually quite nice that it's getting dark and I'm not down on the beach or in the wild somewhere, but I'm actually on the way back to Oswestry in Shropshire. We've got about an hour and a half left of the journey. I probably won't have another break. I've just pulled over and we got some food from the supermarket and managed to get some hot food in there and a drink. Got my coffee ready to go, and so we'll probably try and make it in one go because it's only an hour and a half, which is not that great of an ordeal compared to what we have been doing this week, so that'll be fine. So yeah, we're not at the end of the road trip yet though, because we're going to carry on with it tomorrow, even though I've got to get back tomorrow to do stuff with the church that I'm involved in. That'll be in the morning, but we'll do some stuff in the afternoon, and I'm going to carry on after tomorrow as well, and do 1 or 2 more days of things which will be included as part of the road trip, so it'll be good to see you then. So that's the plan anyway. Whether we stick to that plan, I don't know. We might call the road trip off early due to necessity, but who knows, it all depends on what it's like when I get home. But yeah, it's been fairly successful, I think, overall, so I'm pretty pleased with that. And yeah, of course, as always, leave some I know it's not the end of the road trip yet, but leave comments, leave feedback. I'd love to know what you think of how the road trip has gone. I'd love to know what you would like to see me do next. I'd love to know if you'd like me to do this kind of concept as a road trip more often. I'd love to know whether you'd like me to go further afield, do the road trip in other countries, you know, whatever. There's lots and lots of opportunities and potential and ideas, but we'd love to know what some of your feedback is on that, so do let me know. But I will see you guys in a little bit when I get home. Alright folks, we are almost home. We're just coming down through the last part of Wales before we enter England. Basically our village borders Wales, so we are almost there. I am sorry I haven't done any live streams today. It was most of the day on the road and just too noisy and busy inside the Fossil Show, and I was thinking about doing one when we got out into the Peak District, but there just wasn't enough signal, or it started raining when I came around the corner and there was a bit of signal. It was chucking it down and it just wouldn't work. To be perfectly honest, I'll probably do one live stream tomorrow, but probably not many more. I'd like to do a live stream of going through some of the fossils at the museum, so keep an eye out for that, sort of early afternoon UK time. And we might try and do some more live streams over the next couple of days as I travel and do stuff, if I do travel, if I do carry on the road trip for another day. I might bring it to a close officially on Monday, because I've actually got quite a lot of stuff that I need to do this week in preparation for, number one, our charitable trust's AGM is happening this week. I'm giving a big presentation to do with my academic research, which is really important, so I need to prepare for that. And I've got a whole load of other things I need to do in preparation for Dr. Diane Eager, who will be joining us in the UK, or she's already in the UK. She'll be joining us at the museum in a week or so's time. So there's some preparation that I need to do there as well. So I'll probably bring it to a close perhaps on Monday, and we'll try and go off with a bit of a bang, metaphorically speaking. But yeah, I think it's been pretty good, this whole trip so far, so thank you all for watching, folks, and yeah, we'll do more, hopefully. But I must say, for me who wanted a break, I mean, I love fossil hunting, right? I get so excited. It's been really refreshing for me to do this after a while, but I am exhausted. I have put my back out, my neck is in pain, I've been lugging stuff around, I've put my hip out because of climbing up Paul Mulgrave. I've been editing these videos together until sort of 1 o'clock in the morning most nights. Last night went on for way beyond 1 o'clock in the morning because of the breakdown. You know, it hasn't been a restful time, so, but I enjoy it, and I enjoy bringing you with me. And thank you all so much, everyone, for the positive comments They really mean a lot, and they help me to know what you want and where you are, and how you're enjoying it, whether it's even worth me doing this. So thank you all very much for all of those comments and your prayers during this journey. So yeah, really appreciate it.